record button. Happy Thursday, everyone. I think I scared everyone last week by giving them homework. But if you weren't here, I can still guide you through this. So don't worry. Today is going to be kind of mastermindish in a little way. We're going to talk about the in-betweenies of opportunities. I had an eye-opening class this week. On Tuesday, I got to meet with the top 20% of one of the market centers. And what I had said earlier before we had started recording was a lot of them know what they do. They can tell you what they do, but it's not written down and it's not put in a place that's systematized. So you're ready for that first hire, that admin, and they walk in and they're like, so what do I do? And you're like, well, don't you know what I do? That you're follow me for 2 weeks and you'll figure it out, right? That's not the best way to set up our first admins, right? Or that first hire in our world. And we're in the shift, right, guys? So as the market's shifting and we need to get back into those foundational items because things may not be as fast in the future. One of the things I want to make sure we have really ironed out is our operating manual, right? How many of you right now have an operating manual that says, this is how I do everything every day? Bob does.
Sort of, yeah.
Jean Marie does ish. We have ish. Ish works.
From my
Ish
old
works.
market. It's from my old market, so I need to readjust.
Yeah. Yep. And it is always going to adjust with the market. The market of now is not what I'm going for with today's. So in the chat, I have put a link to my website where you're going to see two different things. You're going to see an opportunity template blank, and you're going to see an opportunity template filled in. And I'm going to open both those on my side as well so you can see them. But I love these cheat sheets. These are cheat sheets on opportunities that a whole bunch of the MCTTs and TLs got together. And at the most basic level, these are the things you could be doing at each phase of an opportunity in order to move people from one phase to the next. And that's what we've noticed is I'm only putting in an opportunity when I need to get paid. Right? But opportunities is so much bigger. As an operations person, oh man, it is client management at the highest level. It's going from nurture to close and making sure you're doing all the right things to restart the relationship. So it's why I love opportunities so much. The other thing we talked about at this class is a lot of us are feeling burnt out. Is anybody else tired? Because I am tired. I am burnt. There's not enough closings. There's not enough in the pipeline. And what we've noticed is we're not celebrating the small things. Did you make the calls? Did you do the tasks? Did you do the things in the lead gen world that lead to moving your people through the parts of an opportunity? And why I love opportunities is it allows us to celebrate what I call in-betweenies, right? I did the call. I got the appointment. Next, check the box, off I go. Could you imagine if we came into the market center and rang the bell every time we finished a successful lead gen day, not just when we got the closing? I think my emotional health in the market center would be a lot better when I would like to be like, hi, I did what I was supposed to do today. I'm going to ring the bell on my way out because that's what I'm going to do. How many of you have bells in your office that you ring when somebody gets a closing? I know a bunch of them do. I saw an office in California with a gong. Could you imagine you're in the middle of lead gen and somebody rings the gong and you jump out of your chair? I got a good giggle out of that one.
Fun fact, KW Cambridge has a gong.
They do? Is it a big one?
They have one of those giant ones. Rich Kim got it for the office.
I'm going to have to take a little trek. All right. I am going to share my screen. You just blew my mind. All right. So what I've given you guys is a buyer's checklist and a listings checklist. We're going to start with buyers because those are easier right now, right? Or maybe you're not working with them. But when you hire after your admin, you're usually doing some type of buyer specialist. So let's get this pipeline and your admin pipeline set up for this. So now when you're in opportunities, like I said, it's to take it from nurture to close and start the relationship back over and however that relationship needs to be nurtured. So when we're cultivating, that means we're watching the lead. Where is everybody getting their buyer's leads from these days? You can just come off and mute and tell me.
A variety of places.
Tell me.
No, number one, always, number one, sphere of influence, past
Nice.
client. By far and away, that's where they come from. Then the next one would be, because we focus on expireds and FSBOs, that's one. The other is from, would be from open houses from our listings, and the other is from Facebook paid ads.
Wonderful. I think you nailed most of them. Does anybody else have any others they want to add in?
Postcard strategy.
So farming with direct mail too. So you get a buyer. You get the buyer. Doesn't matter how you got the buyer, you have someone. Congratulations. Now we've got to nurture them, because in most markets, it's not, hey, I want to buy this house. Let's go put 40 offers in until we get one and now you're my client, right? It's, we had to work. We had to have relationships with them. We had to get them to do the appointment. We had to get them to a point where they were comfortable with us. Right now, I feel like things are going so fast that people are getting pre-qualified, pre-approved. They're finding what they want, and then they're just finding an agent who's going to put the offer in for them sometimes. We're seeing a lot of that as well. So I want to make sure that when the shift's happening, that we are so solid in our buyer's pipeline, we're going to have all the tools we need. Now, again, this is United States-wise, so some of the things you see on this, we may not do in the state you are working or licensed in. So when we're cultivating, do you get every piece of information from a lead when it comes in? Or do they give you one or the other? I mean, how many Nunya at nunyabusiness.coms do we have in our database from leads, right? Like there's, or I've got a lot of Jennies in my database with different area codes for that phone number. I got a lot of 8675309s. Right. So what we're going to do in that first phase of Cultivate is we're going to make sure we have all the demographic info we need to get this person through the phases. Right. So we're going to update. Yeah, we do have a lot of Mickey at mickeymouse.com. So we want to make sure we have their phone numbers or emails, their current address, and we're going to update our database accordingly. The other thing I'd love for you guys to write in and add here is add appropriate tags. So are they buyer? Are they buyer and then first time home buyer? Are they investment property? Are they vacation home? Are they right sizing? What are they doing? So add appropriate tags to the contact based on what you know about them.
Interject for 1 second.
Yeah.
I was just been fooling around with Command and trying to put everything in there with all my leads. Is there any way that you can have a custom tag? Because the tags that are out there I see is sphere, buyer, seller.
Yeah, you just start typing, and if it doesn't exist in your tag data bank, you just say add tag and you pick a color and save it, and then you have custom tags.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Right.
When you see my database, you'll know why I love it so much, because I am crazy about tags. I have a lot of tags in my world. Anything you need to know about the person, such an easier way to filter your database in the future. So if you only want to talk to people who like barbecue taco trucks, well, guess what? I've got a tag for that, because I did meet them at a barbecue taco truck we had. I like that. So now we are nurturing it. So what are some of the things we have to do to get in a relationship? Maybe we're going to do the follow-up call. We're going to put them on a drip or a smart plan. So what smart plans could you put a buyer on?
One is just an MLS daily alert.
Yep, save searches. A cart. I think some of the MLSs call them like a collaboration cart or collab center. Monthly neighborhood nurture or biweekly neighborhood nurture. If you met them at an open house, there's an open house follow-up smart plan that you can customize to fit your needs. You could copy it and change out the address for every open house you do and put them on a very specific open house smart plan. Then we can do a call to action or a handwritten note. And then the other thing that's not on here that I'd love for you guys to add is verify lead source. If you are paying for things, we want to make sure that you are tracking accurately. So when they come into the open house, is open house their lead source? What do you think? Is open house a true lead source?
Last
No.
week, you said no.
Ooh, who said no? I just heard it no.
I did.
Oh, hi, George. How did they find out about the open house? Dig deeper. Dig deeper at your open houses. So if somebody says Facebook, ask where. Wonderful. I remember posting it on the community board. Did you see an ad? Oh no, my friend shared it with me. That's a referral. Or I clicked on an ad. Now I know my ad. Even if they didn't go through the process and click through to get more info, now I know. So I'm going to accurately update my lead source. My other favorite thing about lead sources is that you can choose a contact in your data bank. So if I refer someone to George, he can say the lead source is me. So you can pick a contact from your data bank, which is fantastic. Because at the end of the year, when you're looking at where your business came from, you can see, wow, most of my business came from my sphere and referrals. And then the other was Facebook or mailers or so on and so on and so on. Because if you're paying for it, we should know what the return on investment is for you. And just remember, not everything is quick in this world. While mail can have an immediate response, mail with follow-up has a faster response. We know that from the golden equity or the golden letter that we hear about so much on Pivot Shift. So now we've got them on those and following up. Now, when we've got them in hot lead mode, we're going to call and find out about pre-approval. Maybe they need a referral to a lender. Maybe you're going to get in contact with their lender and just verify things. You're going to compile lists of properties to show. Remember back in the day when you were like, think about how many properties to send people and there was time? We may get back to that. But now we're going to go and set them up on, instead of just property specific, searches that hit their needs. And then there are so many different buyers tips campaigns. Again, this is where I love those tags, first time home buyer. I bought my first house and I was an absolute bonehead. I was a bonehead. Thank God my dad was in construction. I didn't know I had a sprinkler system. Since I didn't know I had a sprinkler system, I also didn't know I had to winterize a sprinkler system.
Oh.
Oh yeah. It was disgusting. It was messy and it was expensive. It was expensive, right? So those buyers tips and tricks and different things are wonderful. Is there anything you guys do when you're nurturing those leads through? Because we want to get them to schedule the appointment now.
Question about this.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about now taking this checklist and actually creating additional checklists in certain, I mean, are you saying there should be a Cultivate checklist and an appointment checklist? All these checklists should go under these points in the opportunity is what you're saying, right?
They do. And when we set it up once, you can apply it to every client when they're in those phases and stages. So that way you always do the same thing every time and continue to delight every client the same way and never forget something. Or even better, get ready to hand it off to someone else. Okay. So now we're just going to go through the appointment stage just to get through it. And then I'm going to hop over to opportunities and show you how to put them in. So now we're scheduling the initial appointment. Back in the day, we created paper folders. I am the nerd and the tech person who still loves paper. So yes, everybody in my world gets folders. You can have folders too. It's okay. Whatever you're going to put in there for your buyer presentation, whatever you need for your appointment. And then you're going to schedule the consult with them. Then on the initial appointment, send a reminder or a text the day before. Did you guys know through our KW Gmail, we can schedule emails to go out? So if it's the day before, 3 days before, or it's today and you're setting up the appointment, you can schedule emails to go out at a certain date and time. So you do it now, you schedule it, you set it, you forget it. And then you fix it if you have to update the times.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because I'm notorious for setting things up in Google to go out, but I was just wondering today, you can't do that in Command.
No, you cannot schedule an email to hit someone's inbox at a specific time. It's either now or a day, and then it goes out in the batches. So these are one-offs, so I like to send this one as a personal right out of my inbox. I'm not going to automate this one. And then maybe I have a task that says send a text message reminding them. Can't wait to see you tomorrow at 2:00. Have your questions ready. I'll have mine. And then we do the actual appointment, right? So we get our signatures, we submit our stuff. Here's my secret trick. Add a task here that says start the transaction in Command. A lot of us get frustrated because we just go to our e-signature program and we've never started the connection in Command. So that means Command cannot talk to whatever e-signature program you're using. So this is where I put the start transaction in Command. How many of you were here long enough where you had eEdge and you used to start the loops from eEdge? You could start the transaction right from eEdge. Think of it the same way. So now when we are doing paperwork, you're just able to sync the transaction instead of download, upload, download, upload. If you have somebody who supports you, they will love you for doing this in Command, and your MCAs and compliance people will love you even more. So we've got a couple of things. I don't want to get deep into this because all of you are going to run your business very different depending on state laws, what you like to do. This template was just to give you a starting point to think about all the things you may do. You may need to add a bucket called staging. You may need to add something called, closing client follow-up. Whatever you want to do, you can do. The only thing you guys shouldn't do, and please don't do, is delete something called legacy, because that helps us bring in things from other programs when we move between things. So don't even worry about legacy. So let's go back to our Command dashboard. Remember, if you don't know where to go in Command, click the red KW. It expands it out. We can see the words, and we see that the handshake is opportunities. Now, if you don't have anyone in opportunities, you haven't done it yet, this is where I suggest making up a fictional character to play with later, or use yourself in an opportunity so you can see how the process works. Okay, so I'm going to click on opportunities, and you're going to see I have a lot of funny ones in there. These are not actuals. This is a training database. All right, because my potential income would be disgusting. All right, so now I'm in the buyer side, and I'm going to click on the little Cultivate plant. You can see, here's the other reason why I love this. Oftentimes I'll say, how's business? Especially when you're in coaching mode or you're trying to help someone how is business? I don't know, I got a few buyers. I got a couple people who may want to sell their home. No. When you start using opportunities this way, now you can say, Brooke, I've got 2 buyers I'm cultivating. I'm at appointment stage with 2. I've got 2 under contract, and I've got 4 closings coming up this month. Boom, just by looking at this. Oh, and by the way, you can pop open your Command app and see it on your phone too. Opportunities are in the Command app. Okay, so I'm going to click on Cultivate because that's our first stage we're going to play in. So you can see that there's a whole bunch of things here, right? Cultivate, here's all those other phases we were looking at below. But I want to just focus on Cultivate, Watch, Nurture, Hot. You know where you are because the green bar comes up and we can see under Cultivate. If we were in appointment stage, the green bar would be under appointment. All right. So in order to edit all those checklists that we just created and looked at, we're going to go up to the top right where it says edit stages. And there you go. You can see there's our 3 that match the template. Watch, nurture, hot. If you don't like what those are called, make them your words. Just make them whatever you would like. The probability is based on data from KW agents that if a buyer is in this stage, there's a 5% chance it will close. There's a 7% chance it will close, or a 10% chance it will close. So that's what those are. I wouldn't play with those too much. Now, the checklist we want to update is over here under checklist. Yours may say 0/0. Click on it. Because what it does is it brings up where we can add tasks, move them, remove them, right? So we said we had to get a phone number, right? We're going to snail mail them an item of value. We're going to send them a handwritten note. Let's say we're going to add to bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. And we're going to add buyer tag. Okay. There we go. We just created our checklist for that one phase and that one part. So we are in watch, in cultivate, and we're creating our list of things we want to make sure we do or we train the next person to do who's coming into our world.
Is this something that you can, once you create it, can you then create it as a template and then for every buyer who's in the Cultivate watch, that this gets applied to them?
That's what this is. So we're going to create this once, and
Yep.
then anybody who's here, this gets applied to it.
Great.
Yeah, it's not every client. Now, granted, there may be some where you need to add more, like maybe
Sure.
if you have specific types of buyers you work with, if you're playing in commercial and, or maybe it's a luxury, maybe you do different things for luxury than you do, but you're going to create this once, set it, and off it goes.
Set it, forget it. Thank you. That's
Set it and
great.
forget it. It's a rotisserie chicken. It's a Ronco. So once you've got all those tasks you want to do, we just click save. And now our opportunities and those tasks are updated. Then we can do the same thing. We're not going to worry about client updates today. Then we can do the same things with nurture. Follow-up call, right? What else? I'm going to change this to update and confirm lead source, right? All getting us to appointment. And then they're hot. Assist with pre-approval, set up on a property search. Anything you want to do. So now our first line is done. So we've got watch, nurture, and hot lead all ready to go. So let's see what it looks like when we go back to opportunities. So I plop SpongeBob in an opportunity. Now you can see this little box right here has things I need to do. You can check them off, but my favorite thing is when you hover over here to the right, it doesn't pop up until you hover. 3 dots appear. You can edit this if it didn't make sense for this very specific client. The other thing you can do is set the due date. So only shows up when I hover over here. So I have to do FFFFDDDSDA. I'm going to pick the due date I'm supposed to do that. So maybe I need to do that tomorrow. I'm going to say 9 a.m. No, 9:30 is good. Okay. So now I am assigning me a task to do. So when I come in the morning, I'm going to know all the things I have to do on my business and in my business, because I'm going to have a task list that's going to pop up, whether you're using Command on your phone or you're using it here on the dashboard on the computer. And we can check it off. Ta-da! 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 Close. 4 out of 4 things done. Perfect. That means I'm over in the nurture stage. And then the task list that we assigned starts back up. So there's those 2 items we have to do. We can assign them to ourselves. If you're on a team, you can assign them to people who are on the contact. So if you have a transaction coordinator, an admin, if a buyer's specialist works with you, you can have certain things that they have to do and you can assign it to them from the team side. And I love that. So as you go through, we're just grabbing it, dragging and dropping it through all the different stages of the nurture phase. So cultivate phase. So here we go. We're watching, we're nurturing. Now they become a hot buyer. So we have the ability to do this with our buyers through every section and our listings through every section. And it's a oh God, how did the Rainmaker put it to me the other day? He used the greatest word, and I can't remember how he said it, but he said it was freeing once he and his team got done this exercise. Because what he also found out was that there's a lot of people doing duplicate things, wasting time, right? So one person was pulling a folder and doing something, and then somebody was then going and pulling a folder, then finding out the other person already did it. There was just a lot of small duplicate things. And it was, he said, like I said, he said it was cathartic. That was his word. He said it was cathartic to go through this. He said, and it was wonderful to figure out that I don't have to do everything, that I can assign it to certain people on the team, or I can assign it to myself and know tomorrow when I come in, I'm going to see those tasks. So what happens is on your dashboard, if you have tasks showing, I don't think I have it. Nope, I don't. Bloop. Bloop. You're going to see all the things you have to do with your opportunities, right? So here are my opportunity tasks. Oh, and it tells you in this opportunity, I have to call for an appointment. I have to snail mail them something. I have to go get demographic info. I have to send a handwritten note. So now outside of my lead gen, I've got all the tasks I have to do with all my opportunities in my business. So it becomes your operating manual. So you do the same thing every single time for every single buyer. Because people talk. You sell one neighbor and you don't do something for another neighbor. Oh, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. Did my screen stop sharing like a bonehead? Yep. Yeah, you could have told me. You could have told me. You know, he told me.
Hey, Brooke, can I ask a
Yep.
question? We use Command, and we've loaded our checklist steps into opportunities. We didn't go all the way back into the, into the cultivate area, the watch area, but in the once we have an accepted offer, or once we have a new listing, and we put them in there and wanted to use it, and it felt so cumbersome. I mean, it's all there. We ended up going back to your checklist, the checklist. Can you just share your checklist there?
Yep.
We went back and took this check, because we have a checklist. It's a document inside of Google Docs, and we have it in the folder for a particular buyer, every listing. And we actually created the check boxes in here, made it dynamic, and we get visibility, and it works. And I would love to be able to actively use Command, but it seems like there's so much detail to it. I don't have the visibility. When I look at a single checklist, like I can see that checklist is for John Smith, and I get total visibility, and I find it easier. And I'd like to use here, but that's a dilemma. So are you finding that these teams are using command and really using command and using the checklist in command and it works?
Yeah, and here's why. Part of the problem is a lot of us don't use the date fields, and this is what starts to give us our conversion ratios. So, this is how rainmakers are looking at if I'm giving you leads or you're
Okay.
doing the things you're supposed to do, are you getting the right desired effect in the right timelines, right? So if I'm giving you leads and you're nurturing them, and if you can't get them to appointment stage, I know you have a conversion need that we need to get help in. Or if you can't even get them to pick up the phone, maybe it's a phone etiquette. You know, there's all these things, or if it falls apart all the time at a certain stage. So while it can seem cumbersome, there's a lot of data in here that make the rainmaker so much smarter because you get quick access to how your agents on the team are actually performing and how quickly they're doing it. So things like appointment scheduled, that's the day you picked up the phone to make the call and get the appointment. The appointment date of the appointment. The day the buyer or the seller agrees and signs the contract to work with you. That's agreement 1. Contract date is the day they go under contract as a buyer or as a lister, right? That's the day we picked a buyer. And then close date is close date. Those metrics alone run every report for conversion. So it also shows you, okay, when we run this ad this way, we get more appointments, right? Because how we're looking at our ROI is very different too. Some people are looking at cost per click, cost per lead, cost per appointment, or cost per closing, right? Like, are you looking at all those metrics when it comes down to it at the end of the day? And if we're not putting in appointment dates or agreement 1 dates, then we're missing that juicy data that drives those reports that tells a rainmaker where they need to get their people to help or where they need to shower praise. And in reports is where you're going to see the info I think you're looking for. So there is an opportunities report where you can see the whole team, or you can see yourself or very specific agents and see where everything is in the different opportunities. So as a rainmaker, you want to see how many opportunities someone has, how many are new, potential, probable, and commissions. And you can even change it year to date, month to date, last month. And here's your buyer pipeline. So you can see what they've got rocking and rolling in there. So that part's not in opportunities, that part's in reporting. And that might be an easier way for you to see things. And then it also translates to goals. So if you have your goals in and it starts to match up with that, now you can see your goals progress year to date of goal versus actual and the percentage you are to that goal. Right? And you can see how many leads to contacts, how many contacts to appointments, and so on and so on. And there's your conversion. But those things don't happen without us filling in some stuff. And again, it's just a habit, right? It's just making sure we're putting in all these things and that we have our goals in so we can see these. Was this the type of view you were looking for in reports, Bob? I just changed
Yes,
it.
in reports, yes. I was referring more to where the challenge is when, for the checklist, our checklist, it's a combination of the listing agent and the transaction coordinator. I mean, they're each sharing in that list, and it's really staying on top of what needs to get done. And I'm mostly referring to when a listing is on the listing side, when a listing is active or a buyer's active.
I see this is usually when a TC takes over an active or your admin on your team, and they're the ones doing most of the communicating. And
Yep.
what I've seen a lot of the teams do is they'll put TC or admin in parentheses or LA,
Yep.
or buyer specialist. So they know who's supposed to do it and assign it. So
Yep,
then the admin or the transaction coordinator owns the accountability of the checklist at that point. So maybe the task is TC to send an email to blah, 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 right? Get really granular on it.
Yep.
Then those can be assigned. And you can see who's doing what or who's not doing what. It also allows you to have vacation time. So if one TC is on vacation, the other TC can quickly look in and see what they're supposed to do.
Okay, thank you.
What's vacation? I know. We're working on that. We're working on that. I love opportunities. I love it because sometimes at the end of the day, we focus on these last two bubbles so much, or the under contract ones, that we're not celebrating all the in-between wins when we got people from Cultivate to being active buyers or sellers. Opportunities can also make you feel super organized at the end of the day. Right? You come in, you know exactly what you need to do. You're not looking for 400 post-it notes. Post-it notes are the devil. They unstick. They end up on the bottom of things, on books. I just found a note I was looking for 3 months ago in my shift book. I was like, why did I do that? I put it there for safekeeping. Why? I love opportunities. There's two ways to make an opportunity too. I prefer to do it from the client. I do not love coming in here and doing create opportunity. I married into a Portuguese family. Everybody is either named Silva, De Silva, Betancourt. Like it's the same three last names and they're all named Paul. So I have so many people who are the same name that if I went from here, I wouldn't necessarily know who in my family I was dealing with. So I always like to go from the client's record. So I get the right Paul Silva or Da Silva. And then I go over to opportunities and I start the opportunity right from there. It also starts to stack it up so you can see how many opportunities you've had with this client. Do you have multiple buy and sell? How, have we had a lost opportunity in the past? Why? So then you can start to see the whole history of what it looked like to be in your world with them. We can see we closed. I can see what's at inspection. And you can also sort these, least recent, most, and I only want to see buy, or I only want to see sell, or I want to see them all. So then you just click create opportunity and you run through it here. It starts to really give you some granular information that I love, And you're also not looking through 40 folders trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing today. Because you can just tap them off too in your phone. Open your command app, look at your tasks, and it's going to tell you what you have to do. If it's a text or a phone call, boom, boom, activity done, activity done. Feels so good to check, get that thing done. Check it off. I did my job today. All right, friends, any questions on opportunities or the checklist that I gave you? I'm going to pop it in there one more time.
We can review this video again, right?
Again and again and again.
again.
Within 24 hours, it gets sucked into YouTube and
Okay,
published.
perfect.
You can look through. I don't rewatch me because I don't like to hear my own voice. So, but you can watch me over and over. You can watch me on double speed. There's a thing where you can put it at the bottom and watch me on double speed. You can also watch MREA, Ignite, our growth calls, anything that
Perfect.
we do. Yeah, the only ones we don't record are the paid for, where you would come in and see Gene Rivers, or a paid for business planning clinic. Those are not recorded.
Thanks.
So this lives on my Brooke the Nerd under the Take Back 6 hours a week. That link will bring you right to the intentional opportunities. And like I said, you build this once, and then you give the same experience across the board. Over and over and over. Thank you, Maria. I like to give, my website is, anything I give you guys, I put it there so we can find it over and over. Any questions? All right, so then your homework is do with this. I gave you a blank one for a reason. Write it out first. Do not go in and put it into opportunities right away. If you're on a team, work with your admin or your transaction coordinator. Is what's in your head matching what's actually happening? And is that a good thing or a bad thing if it's not? Where can you tighten things up? Where can you add some small things that would bring value to your clients or help you stay organized throughout the entire life cycle of the transaction? And start celebrating all those in-betweenies because you guys are working so hard to get these clients in and out of homes. We need to ring the bell on the in-betweenies, not just when those places close. More celebrations, less burnout. You like that? I like that too. I like happy agents. I like
Thanks,
happy
Rich.
rainmakers.
This has been great. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, gang. Do it. This is one of those wonderful things too, where you have access to so many fantastic people in your market center. Pull a mastermind together. If you're on ALC, find out what other ALC members are doing. But definitely keep talking and figuring out what's working during the different phases that are getting people to appointment or getting people to sign the contracts or getting them through the process faster or in a smoother fashion so that you can just restart the process and keep going. So we're going to keep going on this. If you have questions, start with your Market Center Tech Trainer. They're fabulous. We love them. We will also put out this on YouTube so you can rewatch it again. And then you've got my link to my website. And now this is the nationwide one. So just remember, if you see something in escrow that we don't do in one of our states or your lender does it, just remember this was part of a nationwide mastermind we did about 2-3 years ago to just try to help everybody get into opportunities a little easier. So use a pencil, erase, print out a few copies, start with your buyers, and then we'll move on to listings. All right, gang? All right,
Thank you,
friends.
Brooke. It's great.
Woo-hoo. All right,
Thank
we
you.
will see you. Oh my gosh.
Is that
we have so-
checklist on your site, the Brooke the Nerd site?
Yeah, take back 6 and then it's under intentional opportunities. If you're in the chat, you should be able to pull it up. Thanks, Ben, for put it in again. All right, gang. You know how to find us. Go get some coffee. You got 15 minutes to work on this. I'm giving you 15 minutes of your time back. Go work on your checklists.
Here's a little tip. If you don't know where to start, just copy what she gave us and then edit from there.
That's it. That's why I
That's it.
give you the cheat sheet.
That's what I'm doing.
Cheat
Okay.
sheets.
Thanks.
You're welcome, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.